Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to take 2 of the Dipole lithium 2-person review video. I say take 2 because some of you might be thinking, hang on a second, you've done one already. Yes, you're correct, I have done one already. However, I've taken it down for a couple of reasons. Number one, when I was pitching the tent, I found out when I got up here into the forestry that my trekking poles were seized up and would only go to 110 centimetres. That's not quite tall enough to get a proper pitch with the tent. The recommended is 120, and depending on the ground you're on, it can go a bit more as well. So that was one reason. Reason number 2 was I've only been using the tent for about 2 weeks so far. And somebody pointed out to me in the comments in a very nice way, thank you very much for your comment, it's very helpful. I believe it was Ambling Man, thank you sir, that I was actually staking it out incorrectly. Now, if I was Tarptent and I'd spent a lot of time and money and dedication designing and producing a tent like this, I wouldn't want some clown like me putting a video out on the internet showing it being pitched really, really badly, which is what that video was doing. So that's why I've taken the video down, and that's why I'm here today to redo the entire thing. Hopefully I'll get a better pitch this time and be able to show you the tent in a much better light than I showed you in the last video. So yeah, that is apologies to Tarptent, apologies to you viewers, and a thanks to Ambling Man for pointing me in the right direction. See, we all make mistakes, doesn't matter how much experience we have. So just to start with, I should say this isn't the bag that the tent comes in, this is an aftermarket bag that I use for pretty much all my tents fit in here. All the tents that I've owned fit in this bag, and it plops in nicely in one of the side pockets of my backpack and straps there. It's a really good size, that's why I use it. So, Tarptent Dipole 2 Lithium, or Li, 2-person tent, single skin, 2 trekking poles needed to support it. Can pitch with 4 stakes minimum. There is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 guy out points on it. You've got 1 on each apex, 1 on each end. And then if you want to, you can guy out the doors as well. That'd be extras. So minimum stakes you need to pitch is 4. I would say for a really good stable pitch, you need a good 8. If you want to stake the doors out as well, you'll need another 2 stakes probably. Although you can get away with using what I'll show you, the clips on the guy lines for the doors. So very roughly speaking, this tent weighs around about 850 grams. That is just a ballpark figure. I have purchased and installed the optional condensation liner, which goes inside and fits onto the roof of the tent. And that does what it says on the tin. It stops condensation dripping down onto you. What I've found as well is, obviously a lot of people that have experience of DCF know that it's quite a see-through material. It's quite translucent, especially in sunlight. It won't be so evident here, I'm afraid, because I'm under the tree canopy. But what the condensation liner does is it takes that away. So basically your roof becomes nowhere near as see-through. If that's something you're bothered about, then that might be something that is worth considering purchasing for yourself. Alright, so that is that. Let's get her out of the bag and get it set up. Just before we start pitching, one of the things that sets the Dipole family of tents apart from others are these 2 carbon struts in the centre of each end of the tent. You can just see they do break in half there, and they're elasticized, so you can basically fold them down in half. They fix into a little fabric pocket and a ring at the bottom, and then a little fabric pocket at the top underneath the guy cord. But that's your first point of starting to stake out. On the instruction video on the Tarptent website, that wants to be held vertically, and then you stake one corner out there and then stake your other corner out down here. But what these do is these give you a massive amount of headroom and footroom in the tent. They really do increase the usable volume in there by a great deal, and they're not all that heavy at all. They're about 21 inches long when they're out like this, and you can either leave them in like I've done here when you fold the tent up, or you can actually just pop them out. It takes literally a few seconds to pop them out, and then if you want to store them separately to the tent, you can do. But anyway, let's try and get this set up. The goal is, similar to the Durston Gear X-Mid, when you've got it staked out, one stake at each corner, it wants to be as close to a rectangle as you can possibly get it. The better the rectangle you can get, the better the pitch you're going to get. So I'm going to crack on with that, and we'll come back when I've got it something like. So you should be able to see now I've got each corner staked out, and the end pearls, the carbon fibre end pearls, are both inserted and vertical. So you got a stake into the corner loop there, and then this is your inner bathtub. It's also been staked out at the same point, and then you've got a line lock to adjust your outer here. On the outer, when you're pitching, you've got this seam that runs down to each corner, and what you want to try and do is align your stake line with that seam, so the tension is going all the way down that seam line into the stake. So that does help a little bit. So I've got that staked out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the doors, one on each side. I'm going to get the pearls put in, which I have actually checked this time. They do work. I've got a mismatched pair, but they do work. And then that'll be about it. We'll have a look around the outside after that. But you can see it is quite a big footprint on this tent. I thought it was actually bigger than it was when I compared to the Durston Gear X-Mid 2. It's actually slightly smaller. There's not a great deal in it, but it is slightly smaller footprint than the X-Mid 2, and it's roughly the same as the X-Mid Pro 2. I'll flash the footprint sizes from the manufacturer's websites up on the screen. And then what I'll also do for this tent, I'll pop all the Tarptent specs up on the screen, just so you can see if you are interested in the weights and things like that. You can go and obviously see them yourself on the Tarptent website. So as I say, I've got two mismatched pearls. One of my Lecky Micro Varios, I think, has finally bitten the dust. It just will not extend. So when you're inserting the tip in here, there is a little reinforced metal grommet that is hidden in there. That's where your trekking pole tip goes. And then I did have that set to 120 centimetres. Put that one in there. I'm going to leave them vertical for now, but I will show you that you can change them later on as well. Okay. So that's that one. Oh, just on the way through here in the forest, I managed to catch the back of my leg on something extremely sharp, and it's stinging like mad at the moment. Always the way. So just make sure that you get the tip inside that grommet, otherwise your very expensive fancy new tent is going to have one hole in it that you don't really want. Okay, now the pearls are in, it's just going to be a matter of going round and tightening up these guy lines, just making sure everything's as taut as it can be. This is already a much better pitch than I've ever had with this tent. So my eternal gratitude to Ambling Man. Thank you, sir. Anyway, like I say, I'm going to tighten everything up and then come back in a few seconds. So there we go. Stakes are in, poles are in, everything's tightened up. This is just pitched with 4 stakes. There's no other stakes in there at the moment, and it is pretty rigid. Not bad at all. Even the pearls, there's a bit of flex on them. Obviously, if you were getting hit by wind, you would want to guy this line out, excuse me. But that is not bad in the slightest. I'm sure I could probably make a little bit better job of the pitch as well if I really started messing around with it. But that is the tent, guys. So what we'll do is we'll have a little look at the exterior features now and see just what this thing offers. So let's start where we were right in the beginning. These things that were causing me a problem in my last pitch are in all the pitches. So you need the loop for the exterior of the tent, and you need the loop for the interior of the tent, and you need to stake both of those into the ground. Then you've got this one guy cord that runs up all the way up to the central pearl top there. I think I'm going to call this the hub because there's a lot of stuff riding on this here, and you can see as well the DCF is all reinforced around there. So as usual with tarp tent, excellent attention to detail. Just popping back down here again, you do have some line locks on there to tighten up your inner or release it if you want to. There aren't any ways to tension the bathtub floor that I've found so far. As you can see, it's just a mitten hook on there. So whether you could, if you really wanted to, maybe find something, add something to tension that, but looking at it through this vent, it doesn't look as though it needs it. In my last pitch, or in all of my pitches I've had so far, it's been really saggy and floppy inside, and it doesn't look anything like that now that it's pitched properly. So that's good. Okay, so to the top of the pearl. So you've got one guy cord coming up from each corner, and you've got line locks there to adjust them. And then you've got this buckle and cord here coming down, and it terminates in this plastic ring. Now the guy cord that's attached to that plastic ring doesn't come from the factory. I've attached that myself. Actually, that is pretty strong as it is. There was a night when I was getting hit by very strong winds in the Lake District, and I'm even more impressed by this now that I know it was pitched completely incorrectly. But I did guy out this end, and that solved any problems I was having, basically. The only thing that did happen was this buckle kept slipping, the cord in it kept slipping. So what I ended up doing was slackening it off as far as it would go so that it couldn't slip anymore. And then all I did was stake it from there. So that, like that, basically, it was at the point where it couldn't slip any further, and then I just guide it from there. That, I should add, was a sustained night, 8 to 10 hours of very strong winds, gusting up to 25, 30 miles an hour. So yeah, that was a night I don't really want to repeat. But yeah, that's the central hub there that I like to call it. Then you've also got a seam coming off and running up to the top of the pearl there. Again, that's where your tension wants to be, down there. Same again on each corner, obviously. Make sure these guys are nice and taut, or as taut as you can get them. Spiders everywhere up here. What do you expect? It's the forest, you idiot. Here you've got your magnet for the door tie backs. You've got one there and then obviously one at the other side because you can both roll both doors back. At the peak here you've got a sewn and reinforced guy line. This does come from the factory. This is attached at the factory and it's got the little black clip on there, so it's kind of like if anyone's used a lanshan. So basically when you undo this, I will roll it out and show you, but when you undo it, you stake it out and then you also have a line going back to the bottom of the doors, and that black clip clips onto the bottom of the doors. You've got your apex vent here. I don't know if you can see or not, you maybe won't be able to make it out, but there is at the top there a similar toggle and buckle to what you have here on your guy line. Similar setup, and that allows you to just drop the vent a little bit more if you want, or raise it up if you want to. It's difficult to explain and difficult to show, but that's why they've got these vertical strips of Velcro on here, so that wherever it is positioned, you can lock it in place and close the vent if you need to. There is also a little bit of piping in the vent there. I'm not sure what material it is. It's supposed to keep it popped out. It's not doing a really good job, to be honest with you, but it's difficult to find something that does that when a tent's been under compression, been rolled up. On the bottom of the doors, you've just got a single way zipper. It's not a dual way zipper, so you can't undo it from the top here. It has to be zipped from the bottom. And then these cords, I've actually put them on myself so that if I want to, I can stake the doors out however I want them, basically. On the inside, you've also got this little black clip so that if you are experiencing strong winds, you can do that clip up from the inside and it'll just give you a little bit extra security and stop the possibility of your zip being ripped open. I should say as well, it's the YKK waterproof stroke water resistant zip on there. I think that's pretty much it for the outside, guys. Again, what I did was I attached exactly the same as the other end. I attached my own guy line to this end here, and that really does give you a good amount of strength in strong winds. So I'll roll this guy line out and just show you how this one works. So yeah, what we've got is stake loop, which is part way down the guy line, and then you've got your black clip right at the end of the guy line. So what I believe you do is clip your black clip to the doors, or the bottom of the doors, where you can. Makes it a little bit more difficult with mine because I've added this cord to them. So that's clipped out there, that's attached to the door. There's your stake loop into the ground. Oh, very soft ground here, most of it's leaf litter. And then you can tension your guy from the top to get that nice and taut. So there you go, you've got your line running down to the stake, then from the stake back up to the top of the tent. It's a decent solution, I guess. I haven't used it a great deal like that, to be honest with you. I prefer to stake my doors just with pegs like a normal person. So I'm going to take that off. I'll need to take it off anyway to show you inside. So now that we've looked at the exterior features, I'm going to open her up and we'll have a look at the insides. You can see exactly what this thing offers on the inside. As soon as you undo the doors like that, you feel the tension of the entire tent just slip away, which I don't think is a feature that is specific to this tent. I would imagine nearly every single tent does that. But The doors just roll back and secure with these little magnet strips of DCF with a magnet in the end, and they just clip onto the exterior. And you can see there that I've got the trekking pole vertical at the moment, and it is impeding the doorway because the door zipper comes down here basically. It doesn't drop to the floor like some do. It actually secures back just like your outer door does, and it secures back to the same magnet that your outer door does as well. So what you can do with these poles is, hello my friend, go on, Scarpa. You can offset them and the tent still functions perfectly well. So basically what I would do is just undo it, slacken it off slightly, move it there, extend it out again. I've got one of the twist lock poles which annoy me, but you can see there there's not a great deal of difference whatsoever in rigidity. And now you've got your entire door that's accessible. It's not in the way at all. It also helps with the views and stuff when you're inside. So what I was doing when I was using the tent was, whilst I was in and out of the tent at camp, I was keeping the pole like that. And then when I actually got in the tent to go to sleep on a night, I would actually put it back in the vertical position, because even though I just said there's not a big difference, when you're getting hit by some strong winds, there is a pretty big difference. Or I found there was anyway. So I just preferred them vertical because they seemed to me to be a little bit more stable. I am getting swarmed by midges as well, sorry guys. If I keep doing this and this, that's why I'm getting swarmed by midges. So yeah, you've got this big mesh panel on the sides. Most of it is mesh. And then just down here, you might not be able to make it out, but you've got a little solid panel there as well. So let's have a look inside, shall we? So there you go, look, your inner net door just ties back with its own little DCF strip with a magnet in, and it ties back to the same magnet that your outer door does. So that's a nice little touch. So when you actually clamber in, you can see already, if you did see my other video, you'll see just how saggy and really bad the inner looked. And you can see straight away it's nice and taut, or it is a heck of a lot tauter than I had it last time. Superb, absolutely brilliant. So the interior actually doesn't have many features. What you've got at the side of each door is this big mesh pocket that's big enough for me to get my hand in. One there, and as I say as well, another one here at this side. Like I mentioned at the start, I've got the optional clip-in liner, which is this material, this big white material, and that is fixed in by some plastic mitten hooks that are on the liner, and then spaced around the roof of the tent you've got these little elastic loops that they hook onto. It's a little different above the windows, might not be able to make it out, but there's some Velcro, some hook and loop, and some elastic things there. You can see that does make a big difference as well with the light. It's nowhere near as see-through. So there's the bare DCF, you can see that patch of light in the middle, and then when I pull that over it, there is a big difference. It does hang down a little bit, not a great deal, so you're not losing a huge amount of room with it, and for me it's probably worth this tiny weight penalty to make sure that I'm not going to get dripped on. So that's everything. You've got a nice tall bathtub that's tensioned out at the corners properly now. So the only thing left to talk about on the inside are these superb windows or vents, whichever you want to call them. So one of the slight differences, this is the 2024 version of the Dipole 2. The earlier versions had a DCF floor and obviously this is not DCF anymore. I can't remember if it's sil nylon or sil poly. It's one of the two. Basically it makes it more packable, slightly heavier, but a little bit more abrasion resistant. So that's why I think that's why they've changed it. It also reduces the cost of the tent to the consumer as well, because obviously DCF very expensive. So that's that. One another difference is that they've added on the windows this piece of hook and loop in the centre. I'm wondering if they were getting a little bit of water ingress coming in, or whether it was just flapping about too much, I don't know. But basically, as you can see, this entire triangular piece here is no-seam mesh. And then you've got this piece of Dyneema here that acts as a cord, and on that cord you've got a plastic clip. So if you want your vent completely open, you can have it like that. I was laid on my stomach in this tent a couple of times stargazing out of here, and it was beautiful to be able to look out and see the weather or see the stars, you know, see if there was sheep invading the camp. It's a really useful feature to have, and even used as it should be for venting the tent. It's brilliant. If you want to close it up, you just slide it up there. It is a little difficult to do with one hand, I do apologise. Just nip that back up. That locks up in place there. It should do. I can't quite do it with one hand. There we go. And then lock your Velcro tabs in place, your hook and loop. And there you go, that's all sealed up. Now, when I was thinking about buying this tent, I was looking at it and I was thinking, like, are you telling me that is going to stop driving rain and wind coming into your tent? Because it sure doesn't look like it. It does. I can attest to that fact. I've had rain being driven by strong wind directly into this end panel, and I've had it up like this and nothing's come through at all. And it's not just been for like 5 or 10 minutes either. It's been for a couple of hours at a time. So yeah, I don't worry about that anymore. I think that's a fantastic addition. If you want somewhere in between, obviously, just pull your toggle down a little bit. You have a little vent, little window, however much you want. It's completely up to you. There's such a cool feature. Beautiful summer's night when you've got both of those vents open, you've got the doors open, the outer doors. You're basically in a big mesh tent. It's fantastic. So that is pretty much all of the features of the inner. There's nothing else. The only thing I will say is I used to hang a lantern from a hook that I had up here. If I wanted to do that now, I could still do it, but it is really awkward with having this liner attached. I've got to sort of like poke it back and find my way to the mitten hook. It's just a little annoyance. It's nothing too worrying at all, and it's certainly not going to make me say that this is a bad tent, because it isn't. It's a superb tent. I love it. So that's the interior features. I've just found a twig poking up. Oh dear. I'm going to get a couple of pads in here and show you what it's like with 2 pads. A little robin come to see me outside. Look. Hello, Robin. So just before I get the pads in, I'm going to try and show you, try and demonstrate just how big this thing is. I'm 6 foot tall, bang on 6 foot, and I can pretty much starburst in this tent. So you'll see I've got my head flat down, I've got one arm up in this corner all the way, and it's just to say touching the corner. Again, exactly the same with that one. And then if you look at my feet down the other end there, they're not even in the corners. This has to be the only 2-person tent I've ever owned or used that I could quite happily call a true two-person tent. It is massive in here. Alright, so we've got the sleeping pad in there now. For reference, that is the Dyneema Tensor all-season insulated, and that is a regular wide size, so a regular length but wider pad, so it's a 25-inch wide pad. And then down in this corner I've got my SWD Ultralight long haul 50 backpack. So that's pretty much as I would have the tent using it on my own. I'd sleep down one side, I'd have my pack in the corner there, and then all this space here I'd have for my junk, basically. You can see it's extremely generous. So, idiot that I am, rushed up here so quickly I forgot my tape measure. But basically, if you put the pack right into the corner of the tent there, you've still got a good hand's length there. Let me see if there's something I can measure with. There we go, just to try and give you a little bit of reference for size. This is a 750ml water bottle. So that sits in between the pack there and the sleeping pad. You've got a ton of space, rolls all the way up there. One thing to note with this floor, whilst I remember, so where the poles are in the centre, it's actually narrower. It's like an hourglass shaped floor when you look at it from above. So it's wider towards that end, and it widens out at that side, and it does exactly the same behind me as well. So you do feel a little bit more bunched up in the middle than you do at the ends. But all that means is you get more space down here and down here for stashing stuff. So you can see this regular length pad, if I put that down just so it's kind of close to the edge of the tent down there, maybe an inch or two to spare. Let's just see what sort of space we've got at the top here. Plenty. Absolutely buckets. You could probably fit your pack in there quite easily if you wanted to. And again, you've got space at that side of the tent as well, just for a little bit of stash stuff. Where I'm knelt now, I mean, this isn't going to show very well at all, but there you go, 1 bottle length, 2 bottle length, excuse me. There is just a massive, massive chasm of space there. What I was doing was I was basically using that space when I was hiking to lay out all my electronics and charge everything up, sort my food out, things like that. It's so nice to have all the space inside the tent, and there's going to be people watching, I know, that say like, dude, come on, you're on your own, why do you need so much space? It's just what I'm used to, and it's just what I like. I do really love the idea of a small one-man tent that weighs next to nothing and packs down next to nothing and doesn't have a very big footprint, but having tried it in the past, it's just not for me. I feel too confined in there, and I like being able to move around, and if it's raining outside, I really like being able to pack up my backpack inside my tent so everything's dry, get everything packed away except the tent, and then nowadays I just carry my tent on the outside of my pack, so it's just really, really easy. It suits my style of hiking. So I'll just have a quick lay down on this mattress and hope that there's no sticks going to poke through. It's pretty new is this as well. I got it as a replacement when I was in the Lake District because my thermarest went bye-bye. So I've got size 11 UK feet, which is a USA 12 or a European 46. And you can see that even on this thick mattress with my shoes on, they're still about 3 inches away from touching the top there. So at the head end, You can see I've still got a ton of space above me there. I'm not anywhere near touching that. When I sit up, I do just to say brush the inner, I think. I can't tell because I've got my cap on. Sorry. But yeah, even 6-foot person, no problem whatsoever in there. It's absolutely fantastic for a taller person, is this tent. Excuse me. And obviously if I had my sleeping mat down the centre of the tent, I would have even more headroom and leg room because it goes up there. So yeah, that is... Oh, I feel like it's a pity I've got to go to work tomorrow because I feel like I could just sleep here tonight. Anyway, I'll throw another pad in, another mattress, and you can see what it's like with two side by side. So that's the only other sleeping mat I have left in my arsenal now, the Roban Zigzag Slumber. That is just a standard length, standard width pad, and you can see just how much space you've got at the ends, just with that pad as well. So it also suggests to me that you would be able to get two wide pads in here, two long wide pads. Pretty sure that would be doable. If anybody has done that, could you just please confirm in the comments that you can get two wide or two long wide pads in here? It would be much appreciated. Pretty sure you can, looking at it. I don't see any reason why you couldn't. If you found it a little bit tight in the centre, you can always just angle the pole out a little bit, a touch, and then if you needed to, you could pop the guy line out just to secure it. But I don't think that would be an issue, to be honest, looking at it. So there we go. It's a really impressive tent, and for the footprint, the space you get inside this thing is just crazy. So vestibule wise, obviously you've got a vestibule at each side of the tent. They're not actually that big, and I think that's a good thing for me, really. I don't need a huge vestibule, but you can just pop one door out. Basically, if I was to stake that one door there, that's my 50 litre pack in there again, and that's in there really well. No problems whatsoever. You could lay it down as well if you wanted to. The vestibules are a little smaller when you have them unstaked, as this side is. This side's got no stakes in it at all down there, so they are a little smaller. If you deploy the guy line at the ridge and do like I showed you before, attach the guy onto the bottom of the doors, it does pull the bottom of the doors out a bit and gives you a little extra space inside that vestibule, if you so desire. This has worked for me even when I was pitching it horrifically, which I think goes to say something about the quality of the tent and the design. If I can pitch that badly and get through a 10-hour night of high wind, we're talking gusting up to 25-30 miles an hour at times, I think it's a pretty good tent. Going back to what I was saying before, with it being single skin, trekking pole supported, roughly speaking 850 grams. You can't have everything with a tent. You can't have it lightweight, sturdy, roomy, strong. There's got to be compromises somewhere. This, for me, is the perfect amount of compromise on everything. And you are really spoilt for space inside. So, to sum up, do I like the tent? No, I love it. That's the simple answer. I love it even more now I know how to put it up properly. I just said about the compromises you have to make when you're looking for a tent or when you're looking for your perfect tent. There is no perfect tent, otherwise there would only be one tent on the market. It's the perfect tent for you, for your situation, for your style of hiking. This, I think, is the perfect amount of compromises for me. It's beautiful. It's a really cool tent. Yes, the footprint is on the big side, but it's by no means, look, I'm in the middle of a forest that's lumpy and bumpy everywhere, and I've still found somewhere to put it that I would be happy sleeping tonight. So that's not an issue for me. The sturdiness is great. The design's great. The livability inside is superb. The weight is very, very good. There are a lot of things right with this tent and not many things at all that are wrong. And the things that are wrong with it are only tiny, tiny little things that don't bug me that much. So would I recommend it? Yes, I would indeed. If you're the sort of person like me who likes some space, definitely recommend it. If you're someone who's looking for something for you and your partner, or for you and your canine companion, again, brilliant choice. I would totally recommend it. Anyway, the midges are actually getting a little bit much now. So I think I'm going to pack up while I can, whilst I've still got some skin left. So that is all for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Take care of yourselves and happy trails.